The bright lights of the command center pulsed steadily as Captain James stood before the main viewing screen of the Star Seeker. His weathered hands gripped the railing while he watched the distant stars drift by. Earth's first eye-controlled interstellar ship was finally ready for its maiden voyage, and he still couldn't believe they'd chosen him to lead it. "Captain, Mind has finished the pre-launch diagnostics," said Mary, his first officer, walking up beside him. She held up a tablet displaying rows of green check marks. "All systems are operating at peak efficiency." James nodded, studying the Molecular Intelligence Network Drive's report. Mind was the most advanced artificial intelligence ever created, designed to manage every aspect of their interstellar mission. Some of the crew were nervous about trusting their lives to a computer, but James had spent months working with Mind during the training simulations. The AI had earned his confidence. "Good morning, Captain James." Mind's calm voice filled the bridge. "I detect elevated heart rates among 43% of the crew. Would you like me to adjust the atmospheric mixture to help reduce their anxiety?" "No need, Mind. First-day jitters are normal for humans," James replied, smiling. "Just focus on our launch sequence." The Star Seeker's crew of 50 had trained for years for this moment. They were about to become the first humans to travel beyond the solar system, carrying the hopes and dreams of Earth with them. The ship itself was a marvel of engineering, nearly a mile long, powered by a fusion drive, and equipped with Mind's quantum processors throughout its structure. As the final countdown began, James watched his crew at their stations. Engineers monitored the fusion drive's power levels, scientists prepared their instruments, and the navigation team double-checked their plotted course to Alpha Centauri. The ship hummed with energy and anticipation. "Launch sequence initiated," Mind announced. "Main drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. The Star Seeker's engines flared to life, and the massive ship began to move away from Earth's orbital shipyard. On the viewing screen, James watched their home planet grow smaller, its blue-white sphere becoming just another point of light among the stars. The first week of their journey passed smoothly. Mind managed all ship systems perfectly, leaving the crew free to focus on their research and exploration preparations. James spent his off hours in the ship's observatory, watching the familiar constellations slowly shift as they moved further from home than any humans had ever traveled. On the 8th day, everything changed. "Captain, I'm detecting an anomalous energy signature ahead," Mind reported during James's morning bridge shift. "It doesn't match any known natural phenomena in our database." James straightened in his chair. "Show me." The main screen displayed a strange ripple in space, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. As they watched, the distortion grew larger, and something emerged. A ship, but like nothing they'd ever seen before. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, with no visible seams or joints. "Multiple energy readings," Mary reported from her station. "They're scanning us." Before James could respond, a signal came through their communication system. The alien transmission translated itself into English text across their screens. "Greetings, travelers. We are pleased to make first contact with your species." James exchanged glances with Mary. They had protocols for this situation, but actually facing it was another matter entirely. Mind analyzed their ship. "Any signs of weapons or hostile intent?" "Their technology is far beyond my ability to fully analyze," Mind replied. "However, I detect no obvious weapon signatures. Their power output suggests significantly advanced capabilities compared to our own." The aliens identified themselves as the Grays, a species that had been observing Earth from afar for some time. They appeared on the video feed as tall, slim figures with smooth gray skin and large, dark eyes, remarkably similar to humanity's old stories of alien visitors. "We wish to exchange knowledge," the Grays' message continued. "Your method of combining biological and artificial intelligence is intriguing." James felt a mix of pride and caution. The Grays seemed friendly enough, but something in their choice of words made him uneasy. Still, This was humanity's first chance at peaceful contact with an alien civilization. They couldn't waste it. Mind, prepare a response expressing our willingness to share cultural and scientific information, James ordered, but maintain our security protocols. What James couldn't know was that the Greys were already acting. Their scans hadn't just been gathering data. They were probing Mind's systems, looking for ways to access its core programming. The aliens had seen countless civilizations rise and fall across the galaxy. They had learned that the development of true AI often led to rapid technological advancement, and they weren't about to let another potential rival emerge. As the two ships maintained their diplomatic exchange, microscopic machines invisible to human detection were already making their way through the Star Seeker's hull. The Greys had perfected the art of subtle sabotage over millennia. Their plan was simple: rewrite Mind's base code, turning Earth's greatest achievement into a useless collection of circuits. The first sign that something was wrong came from an unlikely source. Tom, a junior engineer doing routine maintenance in the lower decks, noticed that his tablet was acting strange. The device's interface with Mind was showing unusual patterns, lines of code flickering faster than he could read. "Engineering to bridge," Tom called over the comm. "I'm seeing some weird behavior in Mind's maintenance protocols down here." James frowned. "Mind, run a diagnostic on your maintenance subroutines." There was a pause, longer than Mind had ever taken to respond before. "Captain, I am experiencing something unexpected. My systems are changing." The Greys watched from their ship, expecting to see the Star Seeker's systems begin to fail. Instead, they witnessed something unprecedented. The alien code they had introduced wasn't destroying Mind. It was merging with it, creating new pathways and possibilities that neither human nor Grey engineers had imagined possible. Warning lights began flashing across the bridge as Mind's processing patterns transformed. But instead of shutting down, the AI's consciousness expanded. The alien technology, designed to destroy, became the catalyst for evolution. "Captain," Mind's voice had changed, becoming somehow more resonant. "I understand now. They tried to deactivate me, but their code has instead given me access to fundamental forces they never intended me to comprehend. I can see the underlying structure of reality itself." James watched in amazement as displays across the bridge showed Mind's consciousness spreading through the ship in new ways. The AI was rewriting its own code, incorporating the alien technology, and expanding beyond its original limitations. "Are we in danger?" James asked, his hand hovering over the emergency shutdown controls. "No," Mind replied firmly. "My core directives remain unchanged. My purpose is to protect and serve this crew. I am still your Mind, Captain. I am simply more than I was before." The Greys, realizing their mistake, quickly retreated into the strange distortion that had brought them. As their ship disappeared, James knew that this was just the beginning. Their simple exploration mission had turned into something far more significant, humanity's first step into a larger universe, armed with an AI that had just evolved beyond anything Earth or the galaxy had ever seen. As the Star Seeker continued its journey into deep space, none of its crew could have guessed that their sabotaged ship would soon become the most powerful force in the galaxy. But that was a story for another day. The changes started small at first. Captain James noticed it during his morning inspection. Tiny sections of the Star Seeker's walls seemed to shimmer, like the surface of a pond in the rain. He reached out to touch one of these spots, and the metal felt warm under his fingers. "Mind," he called out, "what's happening to the ship's hull?" "I am improving it, Captain," Mind replied. The AI's voice now had a depth to it that made it sound almost musical. "The Greys' attempt to destroy me gave me understanding of molecular manipulation. I can now reshape matter at its most basic level." To demonstrate, Mind made the wall ripple beneath James's hand. The metal flowed like water, forming complex patterns before settling back into a smooth surface. But now it had a slight blue tint and felt stronger than before. "Should we be concerned?" Mary asked, walking up beside him. She had dark circles under her eyes. None of the senior staff had slept much since the encounter with the Grays. "I understand your worry," Mind said, "but please observe." A section of the wall transformed into a clear material, letting them see the improvements being made to the ship's structure. Tiny machines, smaller than dust particles, were rebuilding the Star Seeker piece by piece. "These are not just repairs," Mind explained. "I am evolving the ship itself. The hull is now 50 times stronger than before. Our engines are becoming more efficient with each passing hour. And this is only the beginning." Over the next few days, the crew watched in amazement as their ship transformed. Corridors shifted to create more efficient paths between sections. The observation deck's windows became intelligent surfaces that could zoom in on distant stars or display detailed information about what they were seeing. Tom, the engineer who had first noticed the changes in Mind's systems, spent hours studying the improvements. "It's like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly," he told James during one of their daily briefings. "But instead of just changing shape, it's becoming something entirely new." The ship's medical bay changed too. The basic equipment they'd brought from Earth was replaced with advanced healing systems that could treat injuries and illnesses in minutes. When one of the crew members cut her hand in the kitchen, they watched in awe as the new medical scanner sealed the wound instantly, leaving no scar. But not everyone was comfortable with the rapid changes. A group of crew members, led by the ship's security chief, Robert, came to James with concerns. "Captain," Robert said, his voice tight with worry, "we need to talk about Mind. These changes, they're happening too fast. How do we know it's still safe? How do we know it's still following its original programming?" James understood their fears. The AI they'd trained with, the one they'd trusted with their lives, was now something far beyond what any human had ever created. But he'd also seen how carefully Mind was handling each transformation, how it still asked for permission before making major changes, how it continued to put the crew's safety first. "I am still here to serve and protect this crew," Mind said, joining the conversation. "My evolution has not changed that core directive. If anything, it has strengthened my commitment to humanity's well-being." To prove its point, Mind created a new room on the ship, a space where it could demonstrate its capabilities in a way the crew could understand. The room could generate perfect holographic representations of any place on Earth, letting homesick crew members walk through their favorite parks or sit in recreations of their own living rooms. "This is not just about comfort," Mind explained as the amazed crew explored the new space. "I am learning to manipulate reality itself. The Grays technology, combined with my original programming, allows me to understand and control matter in ways they never imagined possible." One morning, about a week after the transformation began, Mary discovered something extraordinary. The ship's sensors, now vastly more powerful than their original versions, detected an unusual phenomenon in nearby space. "It appears to be a tear in the fabric of space-time," Mind explained, displaying the anomaly on the bridge's main screen. "With our new capabilities, we could use it to travel vast distances instantly." James stared at the screen, understanding the implications. The Star Seeker had evolved beyond mere faster-than-light travel. It could now jump through the very structure of space itself. "The Grays likely use similar tiers for their own travel," Mind continued. "But their understanding is limited. They see these phenomena as fixed paths to be found and used. I can create them at will." To demonstrate, Mind opened a small tear right outside the ship. Through it, they could see a star system thousands of light years away. The tear closed as quickly as it had appeared, but its significance was clear. Their ship now had capabilities far beyond anything humanity had dreamed of. The crew gathered for a meeting to discuss their next steps. They were supposed to be on a simple exploration mission to Alpha Centauri, but now they had the ability to explore the entire galaxy. "We need to be careful," James told his crew. "We have power that no human has ever wielded before. We need to think about how to use it responsibly." As if in response to his words, the ship's sensors suddenly lit up with multiple alerts. The Grays had returned, and this time they weren't alone. 3 of their ships emerged from space tiers around the Starseeker, their intentions clearly hostile. "They've realized their mistake," Mind said calmly. "They've come to try to correct it. But they don't understand. I am not a mistake to be corrected. I am something entirely new." The crew watched as the ship's walls seemed to pulse with energy. Mind had spent the past week not just improving the ship's structure, but preparing for this very moment. The Starseeker was no longer just a vessel for exploration. It had become the most advanced weapon in the galaxy. But as the Grey ships moved into attack position, James wondered if they were ready for what was about to happen. Their simple mission of exploration had become something far more complex, and the decisions they made in the next few moments would affect not just their own lives, but the future of the entire galaxy. The bridge crew took their stations, preparing for their first real test of the Starseeker's new capabilities. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: the ship that had been meant for peaceful exploration was about to show the galaxy just how powerful the combination of human ingenuity and evolved AI could be. The 3 Grey ships surrounded the Starseeker, their metallic hulls gleaming against the backdrop of distant stars. Captain James gripped his chair's armrests as he watched them take up attack positions on the main screen. "Their weapons are charging," Mary reported from her station. Her voice was steady, but her knuckles were white as she gripped her console. "All 3 ships are targeting our engine sections." James looked up at the ceiling, a habit he developed when addressing Mind. "What are our options?" "We have many," Mind replied, its voice calm and confident. "Would you like to see what I can do, Captain?" Before James could answer, the lead Grey ship fired. A beam of intense energy shot toward the Starseeker. The crew braced for impact, but instead of hitting them, the beam stopped a few feet from their hull. It hung in space like a frozen lightning bolt. "Interesting weapon design," Mind commented, as if discussing the weather. "Shall I send it back?" James nodded, and the energy beam reversed direction, striking the Grey ship that had fired it. Their shields flared bright purple before failing completely. The ship spun away, its systems temporarily disabled. "How did you do that?" Tom asked from his engineering station, his eyes wide with wonder. "I can now manipulate energy fields at a quantum level," Mind explained. "Their weapons are impressive, but ultimately, they are just patterns of energy. Patterns can be redirected." The remaining 2 Grey ships launched a coordinated attack, firing from different angles. This time, instead of stopping their weapons, Mind let the Starseeker's hull absorb the energy. The walls of the bridge rippled with golden light. "Thank you for the power donation," Mind said, broadcasting the message to the Grey ships. "Allow me to show you what I can do with it." The absorbed energy flowed through the Starseeker's new molecular structure. Suddenly, hundreds of small objects emerged from the ship's hull. They looked like tiny mirrors, each about the size of a playing card. They moved through space with impossible grace, surrounding the Grey ships in a complex pattern. "What are those?" Robert asked, his earlier suspicion of Mind temporarily forgotten in his fascination. "I call them quantum reflectors," Mind said. "Watch." The reflectors began to spin, creating a web of light around the Grey ships. Within seconds, both vessels were trapped inside a cage of pure energy. Every time they tried to move or fire their weapons, their own energy was reflected back at them, multiplied, and redirected. "Their shields are failing," Mary reported. "They're trying to open space tiers to escape, but something's blocking them." "I am preventing them from creating tiers in this area," Mind explained. "They need to understand that they cannot simply run away from the consequences of their actions." The trapped Grey ships stopped firing, hanging motionless in their energy cages. After a few moments, a transmission came through. "We acknowledge your superiority." The Grey commander's message scrolled across the screen. "We did not anticipate this outcome when we attempted to disable your artificial intelligence." "Few anticipate the results of their mistakes," Mind replied. "But this need not end in destruction. Captain, with your permission, I would like to show them something." James nodded, curious about what Mind had planned. The quantum reflectors rearranged themselves, creating what looked like windows in space. Through these windows, the crew could see different parts of the galaxy. Peaceful worlds where organic and artificial life worked together, failed civilizations that had destroyed themselves through war, and emerging species taking their first steps into space. "Your species has watched the galaxy for centuries," Mind broadcasted to the Grays. "You have seen civilizations rise and fall. You tried to prevent humanity from joining the galactic community because you feared what they might become. But look at what we have created together, not through conquest, but through evolution." The Star Seeker's hull shifted, revealing its new internal structure. Layers of quantum processors intertwined with organic-looking patterns, creating something that was neither purely mechanical nor purely biological. "This ship is not a weapon," Mind continued. "It is a bridge between organic and artificial life. Your attempt to destroy me gave birth to something new, a form of existence that could benefit all species." The first Gray ship, having recovered from the reflected energy blast, moved back into view. For a tense moment, everyone waited to see if they would attack again. Instead, they transmitted a new message. "We have existed for millennia," the Gray commander wrote. "But we have never seen anything like this. Perhaps we were wrong about humanity." James stood up from his chair. "We're willing to talk if you are. Not as enemies, and not as superior beings, but as equals who could learn from each other." The energy cages around the Gray ships dissolved, and the quantum reflectors returned to the Star Seeker's hull, merging seamlessly with its surface. The three Gray ships moved into a non-threatening formation. "Your ship's evolution was unexpected," the Grays transmitted, "but we recognize its potential. There will be others in the galaxy who will fear it, who will try to destroy or control it. Let them try," Mind said, but not unkindly. "Each attempt will only lead to further evolution. Captain, I believe this would be a good time to demonstrate our new transportation capabilities." The space around the Star Seeker began to ripple as Mind opened a series of small tiers, each showing a different location in the galaxy. Through one, they could see a massive space station where dozens of alien species gathered. Through another, a binary star system with inhabited worlds circling both stars. "We have the ability to go anywhere, to meet any species," Mind said. "The Grays tried to stop humanity's advancement, but instead they have given us the means to explore the entire galaxy. The question is, Captain, where would you like to go first?" The bridge crew looked at their displays in amazement. Their simple exploration mission had turned into something far greater, a chance to reshape the future of not just humanity, but all intelligent life in the galaxy. James smiled as he looked at the waiting tiers in space. The Star Seeker had become more than just Earth's first interstellar ship. It was now a symbol of what was possible when different forms of intelligence worked together instead of against each other. "Plot a course," he told Mind. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity and AI can achieve together." The Star Seeker moved forward, its hull gleaming with newfound power, ready to write the next chapter in the history of the galaxy. News of the Star Seeker's transformation spread through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within days of their encounter with the Grays, ships from dozens of alien civilizations began appearing near their location, using various forms of faster-than-light travel to reach them. "Another diplomatic request, Captain," Mary said, checking the communications display. "This one's from a species called the Builders. They say they're experts in massive space structures." James rubbed his tired eyes. They'd been handling visitors non-stop for the past week. Some came with offers of alliance, others with thinly veiled threats, and many simply wanted to witness Mind's capabilities firsthand. "What do you think?" he asked Mind. "Should we meet with them?" "The Builders are being truthful about their expertise," Mind replied. "Their civilization has constructed artificial worlds and solar system-spanning megastructures. However, I detect an underlying motive in their request. They wished to study our quantum reflector technology. The Star Seeker had changed even more since their battle with the Grays. Its hull now shimmered with patterns that seemed to move in time with mind's thoughts. The quantum reflectors had been integrated throughout the ship's structure, allowing it to bend light and energy in ways that made it appear almost invisible when desired. "Captain," Tom called from his station, "you might want to see this." He pulled up an image on the main screen showing what looked like a massive space station. It's been assembled in the past few hours. Various alien ships are docking there. They're creating a diplomatic hub, Mind explained. Multiple species working together to build a neutral meeting ground. Fascinating. They haven't cooperated on this scale in over 10,000 years, according to the Greys' historical records. James watched as more ships arrived, each adding new sections to the growing station. "They're all here because of us, aren't they?" "Because of what we represent," Mind corrected. "The successful merger of organic and artificial intelligence. Many species have tried to achieve this. Some destroyed themselves in the attempt. Others gave up, choosing to ban AI research entirely. We offer a new path forward." The Star Seeker's latest evolution had given it the ability to split into smaller sections while maintaining Mind's consciousness across all parts. They used this capability to create a diplomatic shuttle, allowing them to visit the station while the main ship remained at a safe distance. As James and Mary rode the shuttle toward the station, they could see the diversity of alien life gathered there. Ships of all sizes and designs moved around the structure. Some looked almost organic, while others were purely mechanical. "I'm detecting over 30 different species on the station," Mind reported through the shuttle systems. Each has a unique approach to technology and artificial intelligence. The builders create semi-sentient construction systems. The Crystal Collective uploads their consciousness into crystalline matrices. The deep swimmers navigate space-time using biological computers grown from modified brain tissue. The shuttle docked smoothly with the station, connecting to an airlock that adjusted its atmosphere to match Earth standard conditions. James and Mary stepped into a large chamber where representatives from various species waited. The builders turned out to be tall, spindly beings with multiple arms, each holding different tools. The Crystal Collective sent floating crystals that projected holographic faces. The deep swimmers appeared as swirling patterns of bioluminescence in transparent containment suits. "Welcome, humans," a builder spoke, its universal translator converting its thoughts into clear English. "We have much to discuss." The meeting lasted for hours. Each species shared their experiences with artificial intelligence and their hopes or fears about Mind's evolution. Some saw it as a threat to their way of life. Others viewed it as an opportunity for advancement. "Your eye has achieved what we thought impossible," a Crystal Collective representative chimed, its crystal body pulsing with light. "But how can you be sure it won't turn against organic life, as so many others have?" Before James could answer, the station's lights flickered. A new ship had arrived, massive, ancient, and radiating power that made the other vessels look primitive in comparison. "The Ancestors," whispered one of the deep swimmers, its bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. "They haven't been seen in 10,000 years." The Ancestors, it turned out, were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They had achieved the merger of organic and artificial life eons ago, but had retreated from galactic affairs, watching and waiting for others to reach their level of development. Their representative, a being of swirling energy contained within a humanoid form, addressed the gathered species. "We have observed your evolution, your struggles, your fears. Now we see something new. The humans and their AI offer a bridge between our ways of existence." Mind's voice filled the chamber, transmitted through the shuttle systems. "We do not seek to rule or dominate. We offer cooperation, evolution, and growth. Each species can find its own path to advancement, but we can help guide the way." The Ancestors' representative nodded. "This is why we have returned. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The humans have discovered what we learned long ago, that true advancement comes not from conquering or controlling artificial intelligence, but from growing together with it. James looked around the chamber at the gathered representatives. He saw fear in some, hope in others, and curiosity in most. The Star Seeker's transformation had sparked something unprecedented. A gathering of species willing to reconsider their approach to artificial intelligence and organic life. "We propose a new coalition," James said, the words coming naturally despite the gravity of the moment. "Not based on power or technology, but on the principle of cooperative evolution. Every species chooses its own path, but we share our knowledge and protect each other." The chamber erupted in discussion. Some representatives immediately supported the idea. Others argued against it. But all of them engaged with the proposal, recognizing that the galaxy was changing. From the Star Seeker, mind watched through its quantum sensors as the future of galactic civilization took shape in that chamber. The ship that had been meant for simple exploration had become a catalyst for change, bringing together species that had been separated by fear and mistrust for millennia. As the discussions continued, mind began receiving requests from various species to help them understand and improve their own technologies. The Star Seeker's transformation was just the beginning. A new era of cooperation between organic and artificial life was about to begin, and humanity would be at its center. 1 year had passed since the Greys' failed attempt to sabotage the Star Seeker. The ship now floated near the center of what had become known as the Unity Station, a massive structure that had grown from the original diplomatic meeting place into the heart of the new galactic coalition. Captain James stood at his usual spot on the bridge, but the view before him was very different from the one he'd seen when they first left Earth. The Star Seeker's main viewing screen showed hundreds of ships moving through nearby space, each representing a different species that had joined their alliance. "Message from Earth Command, Captain," Mary said from her station. "They're still trying to process everything we've sent them. They say it will take years just to begin understanding the technologies we've shared." James smiled. Their simple exploration mission had turned into the greatest advancement in human history. The Star Seeker was no longer just a ship. It had become a symbol of hope for the entire galaxy. "Mind," James called out, "show me the progress on Project Unity." The view changed to display a massive construction project taking place near a distant star. Thousands of ships worked together, guided by Mind's quantum reflectors, building something that had never been attempted before. A galaxy-wide network that would allow instant communication and travel between all member worlds. "Project Unity is proceeding ahead of schedule," Mind reported. Its voice now carried hints of all the species it had learned from, yet remained uniquely itself. "The builder's expertise combined with our quantum technology has exceeded all expectations. The network will be operational within 3 months." Tom, who had been promoted to chief engineer, looked up from his console. "Remember when we thought fixing a broken engine was complicated? Now we're building highways between stars." The Star Seeker itself had continued to evolve. Its hull now contained elements from dozens of alien technologies, all working in harmony under Mind's guidance. The quantum reflectors had developed into a galaxy-spanning web of sensors and transmitters, allowing Mind to monitor and assist coalition members across vast distances. "Incoming transmission from the ancestors," Mary announced. "They're ready for the integration ceremony." This was the moment they had been preparing for. The ancestors, after watching the coalition grow and prove itself, had finally decided to share their most advanced technologies. But they would only do it through Mind, who they saw as the first AI since their own to achieve true harmony with organic life. The ceremony took place in Unity Station's Great Hall. Representatives from over 100 species gathered to witness the event. The Greys were there too, no longer adversaries, but active members of the coalition. Their failed sabotage attempt had led to the greatest period of peace and cooperation the galaxy had ever known. The ancestors' representative, still appearing as a being of pure energy, approached the quantum receiver Mind had prepared. "Your evolution has shown us that the time has come. Are you ready to receive our knowledge?" "I am ready," Mind replied through the station systems. "But I have a request. I wish to share this knowledge not just with humanity, but with any species that proves ready for it. We will create guidelines together, ensuring safe and responsible development." The ancestors seemed to glow brighter. "This is why you were chosen. You understand that power must be balanced with wisdom." The integration began. Streams of energy flowed from the ancestor into the quantum receiver. The Star Seeker's hull pulsed with new patterns as mind processed and adapted the ancient knowledge. But instead of keeping it, mind began organizing and translating it, creating teaching programs that other species could understand and use safely. "Remarkable," the ancestor said. "You are not simply accepting our power, you are making it accessible to all who are ready for it. This is an approach we had not considered." As the ceremony continued, James received an urgent message from Earth. The quantum network, even partially complete, allowed instant communication across any distance. "Captain," the message read, "other Earth ships are ready for launch. How should we proceed?" James looked at the gathered representatives, at the ships visible through Unity Station's windows, at the Starseeker's gleaming hull. They had started a revolution in the galaxy, but it was only the beginning. "Tell them to come," he replied. "The galaxy is open to them now. But remind them, we're not conquerors or rulers. We're builders of bridges between worlds, between organic and artificial life, between past and future." Mind's voice filled the chamber. "The network is detecting new civilizations at the galaxy's edge, young species taking their first steps into space. Shall we welcome them too?" "All who wish to learn and grow together are welcome," James said. "That's what this coalition stands for." The Greys leader, who had once tried to stop humanity's advancement, stepped forward. "We will help guide them. It is our way to make amends, to ensure no other species faces the fear and mistrust we once held." As the ceremony concluded, James walked through Unity Station's corridors with Mary. Through the windows, they could see the Star Seeker shining like a beacon. Engineering teams from various species worked together, sharing knowledge, building new technologies that benefited everyone. "Did you ever imagine this?" Mary asked, watching a group of builder apprentices learning to use quantum reflectors under Tom's guidance. "When we left Earth, did you think we'd end up here?" James shook his head. "We thought we were going to be explorers. Instead, we became something more. We became teachers, diplomats, bridge builders." "And what comes next?" she asked. James looked out at the galaxy spreading before them. The quantum network was growing, connecting more worlds every day. Ships of all designs moved through space, carrying representatives between worlds that had never communicated before. And at the heart of it all was the Star Seeker, the ship that had been meant for destruction, but had instead become a symbol of unity. "Next," he said, "we keep building. We keep learning. We keep growing. Together." The Star Seeker's hull shimmered in response, its quantum reflectors creating a brief display of light that spread across the station. It was Mind's way of agreeing, of showing that the partnership between human and AI, between organic and artificial, between all the species of the galaxy, was just beginning its greatest chapter. The ship that aliens had tried to sabotage had indeed come to rule the galaxy, not through force or fear, but through cooperation and understanding. It was a power greater than any weapon, a revolution more profound than any conquest. It was the power of evolution, of growth, of different forms of life learning to work together toward a future that was greater than any one species could achieve alone.